In the spring of 1992, Mexico City recorded the highest pollution levels ever measured in any city in the world. Officials responded with an aggressive program to establish centralized testing systems using advanced technology to measure the emissions of all vehicles used in Mexico City. 24 MacroCenters, each with 6 test lanes, were constructed and fully operational in less than 6 months. Each of these centers can test up to 800 vehicles per day. When the MacroCenters began operation in January of 1993, they represented the most advanced, large-scale vehicle emissions test program in the world. Each lane processes 2 vehicles at a time to increase the efficiency of each MacroCenter. At vehicle position 1, the operator enters information about the vehicle, including ownership, equipment, and evidence of previous emissions tests. The operator is assisted by pop-up menus to correctly fill in the computer screen blanks. The pull-down menu system ensures the vehicle database will contain consistent entries which may be stored for future statistical analysis. Misspelling and missing information is avoided. After entering all the pertinent information, technicians perform a visual inspection to check for fuel caps, oil dipsticks, emissions equipment, and evidence of excessive exhaust or oil breather smoke. A pressure integrity test can also be conducted to ensure the fuel tank and charcoal filter system are leak-proof. If the vehicle has been tested previously at any of the MacroCenters, all information may be recalled from a computer database using the barcode printed on the previous test certificate. After completing data entry and inspection at position 1, the vehicle moves to position 2 for emissions tests. At position 2, vehicles with catalytic converters are tested on chassis dynamometers under road load conditions. Older vehicles without catalytic converters are tested at idle and at 2,500 RPM engine speed with no load on the vehicle. The government establishes pass-fail standards for all vehicles based on their year model, equipment, and weight. For a test on the dynamometer, the vehicle is positioned and then restrained with tie-down straps. The straps provide for extra safety in case of unusual occurrences. For front-wheel drive vehicles, the straps prevent the vehicle from moving side to side on the drive rolls if the steering wheel is turned inadvertently during the dynamometer test. An engine speed pickup is installed on the ignition wires under the hood. The test technician then uses a driver's controller, which he temporarily mounts on the steering wheel in the test vehicle. The driver's controller provides changing control commands and real-time status information to the operator seated in the test vehicle. It instructs him of each step to take during the test and requires him to confirm completion of that step by pushing the appropriately labeled buttons. The controller also provides a variety of error messages and prompts if the operations are not performed in the correct sequence. Tests are made to ensure the vehicle speed is within the required ranges, that the tachometer is performing properly, and that the emissions probe has been installed in the exhaust pipe at the correct time. The vehicle is first operated under power on the dynamometer, and the emissions are measured during a cycle which lasts up to 30 seconds. Tests are also performed to ensure the emissions probe has not fallen out of the exhaust pipe during the test evolution. Then the vehicle is returned to idle for a second measurement of emissions under no-load conditions. Within 90 seconds, the entire test is completed and the vehicle is ready to exit the lane. The driver's controller is returned to its holder. The emissions probe is also removed and stored. The tie-down straps are released. The tachometer probe is then removed. The vehicle owner then drives the vehicle from the test lane and proceeds to the certificate area. Tests are also run on larger vehicles, such as this city bus. The chassis dynamometers are designed for axle loads of up to 12,000 pounds, which permits vehicles with gross weights up to 25,000 pounds to be tested under load. The smaller late model buses and trucks in Mexico City are required to pass tests on the dynamometer. At the completion of the test, results are transmitted by computer network to the MacroCenters front office, where certificates are issued for acceptance or rejection. If the vehicle fails the first test, it may receive up to 2 additional tests at no charge after the vehicle has been repaired. Each vehicle owner pays approximately $13 for the test. The 3-part acceptance certificate shows the vehicle test standards on the back and the vehicle test results on the front. Each certificate is valid for 6 months. 1 copy goes to the government, 1 copy goes to the vehicle owner, and 1 copy is retained by the MacroCenter. Statistics on 70 different items involving the vehicle ownership and test are stored in the master computer for statistical analysis and future reference. During the first month of testing, approximately 60% of the vehicles failed the test. Of those failing the test, half of them failed the visual inspection and did not proceed on to the emissions phase of the test. The other half failed the emissions portion of the test. The most common cause of emissions failure appears to be high carbon monoxide levels, due to excessively rich fuel-to-air mixtures. The other most common failure is due to high hydrocarbon levels, resulting from poor combustion caused by ignition system defects. The most common causes for visual inspection failures were missing fuel caps, missing air cleaners, and visible exhaust smoke. If a vehicle fails a test, it receives a rejection certificate which shows each of the items that failed the inspection and also lists the required emission standards. Technicians explain why the vehicle failed the test to each owner. The vehicle owner must then have the vehicle repaired within the next 30 days and return for a retest. During 1993, additional centers will be established to perform detailed technical analysis of failed vehicles to make recommendations for the most cost-effective repair procedures. Minor repairs will also be done in these centers where appropriate. After these repairs are completed, the vehicle will then return to a macro center for its final verification test. Mexico City's MacroCenters are open from as early as 6 in the morning to as late as 8 at night, 6 days a week. When a lane is operating smoothly with no disruptions, as many as 20 vehicles per hour can be processed. SuperFlow Corporation has already installed test lanes in Mexico City with a capability of processing more than 5,000 vehicles per day. Based on the excellent performance of our systems, additional contracts have already been awarded for the installation of SuperFlow equipment, enabling testing of another 4,000 vehicles per day. Both macro center owners and government officials acknowledge that the test equipment supplied by SuperFlow Corporation is significantly superior to that offered by other suppliers.